Good evening, everybody. I'm Dr. Sumanis Karant. I'm a consultant medical oncologist at Fortis Gurugram, and I'll be discussing two abstracts today. The first abstract is on the clinical and demographic factors, treatment patterns, and overall survival associated with rare triple negative breast cancer in the United States, and this has been presented by Elizabeth et al. So the background information for this study is the triple negative breast cancer we all know has a more aggressive clinical course, and the literature on the rare subtypes of triple negative breast cancer is very rare, and the data is very sparse. And we don't know about the survival and the risk of metastasis. So the objective of this study was to present the clinical and demographic characteristics, treatment patterns, and overall survival for these histological rare subtypes of triple negative breast cancer. They focused on medullary carcinoma, adenoid cystic carcinoma, and metaplastic breast cancer. So this cohort was performed in the United States with the data reported by the National Cancer Database between 2010 and 2016, and confirmed cases of the three subtypes which looked into. The key questions that they actually looked into was, do all triple negative breast cancers demonstrate similar aggressiveness and response to treatment? Or does the heterogeneity exist among triple negative breast cancer secondary to the histological type? The primary outcome was a 5-year overall survival, and secondary outcomes were site of metastasis, effects of the immunohistochemistry, and management of the 2-year mortality. So this was how the baseline characteristics were distributed among the three. And what I'd like to highlight upon is the median age of presentation of the medullary carcinoma was at a young age, as you can see, as opposed to the metaplastic breast cancer, 53 years versus 63 years. And if you look at it, most of the medullary and metaplastic carcinomas were poorly differentiated or undifferentiated, as opposed to the adenoid cystic carcinomas. Also, if you go further down and you look at it, the proportion of tumors with triple negative immunohistochemistry were almost 22.4% in medullary carcinoma, 48% in adenoid cystic, and 53% in the metaplastic carcinoma. Now, when they looked into the treatment aspects, patients with adenoid cystic carcinoma were less likely to receive radiotherapy. Also, you can see that stage 3, stage 4 carcinomas were more in the medullary and the metaplastic as opposed to the adenoid cystic. Metastasis was to any of the organs, that is the liver, lung, bone, were more seen in the metaplastic carcinomas. The 5-year overall survival was superior in patients with a medullary and adenoid cystic as compared to metaplastic carcinoma. So we'll look at it in the further subsequent slides. Metaplastic carcinomas were more likely to metastasize to the bone, as you can see, brain and the liver and the lung, as opposed to the other subtypes. There were few cases, but however, they were much higher in this subtype. When they looked into the survivals, the 5-year overall survivals, you can see the orange curve is the medullary, which was the most superior, that is about 91.7% 5-year OS rate, as opposed to the adenoid cystic, which also did fairly well, 88.4%, versus 63.1% for the metaplastic carcinoma. This is for stage 1. Stage 2 was also similar. So it's clearly a much better survival with the medullary as opposed to the metaplastic. So the authors concluded that triple negative breast cancer, it's not a single disease, it's actually a heterogeneous population. So they have variable chemotherapy resistance and variation in their outcomes. And the worst 5-year overall survival was for metaplastic breast cancer. The factors with poor prognosis for metaplastic carcinoma included advanced stage, lung metastasis, older age, and not receiving chemotherapy or radiation. So this was the first abstract, and I'll move to the next abstract. The next abstract was the outcome of the breast cancer patients treated with chemotherapy during pregnancy as compared to the non-pregnant controls. And this was presented by Frederick et al. At ASCO 2021. So the background of this study was that we know that the diagnosis of breast cancer does occur during pregnancy, and it appears overall not to have an impact on the maternal prognosis if you give standard chemotherapy. However, always starting chemotherapy in a pregnant woman causes a lot of anxiety for the physicians, because we wonder whether the gestational changes in pharmacokinetics will lead to redistribution of the drug metabolism changes, and excretion of the drug could also change, leading to reduced chemotherapy concentration in these pregnant women. So this cohort was actually designed to focus on the maternal prognosis in such women. who received chemotherapy during pregnancy. So what they did is that they compared the women who had breast cancer during pregnancy with non-pregnant breast cancer women who were treated with chemotherapy diagnosed after the year 2000, and they excluded postpartum diagnosis, and they had an age limit of 45 years. Two multicentric registries were utilized, and they both were the German breast cancer group studies and the International Network of Cancer, Infertility and Pregnancy to collect both retrospective and prospective breast cancer data. DFS and OS were compared in both the groups, and of course, both the groups were adjusted to age, stage, grade, hormone status, HER status, and histopathology. And the median follow-up was about 66 months. So they looked at 662 pregnant women and 2,081 non-pregnant women. They were eligible for the analysis. They found that the median age of diagnosis was younger at 34 for pregnant women and 38 for non-pregnant women. What they found is that the pregnant women were more likely to have a stage 2 breast cancer, that is 60% versus 56.1% in non-pregnant women. Grade 3 tumors were more common, that is 74% versus 62%, and this was statistically significant too. And they tended to have a triple negative breast cancer more frequently as compared to the non-pregnant women. So when they looked into the forest plot, looking into the DFSs and OSs, what they found is that, when you give the standard chemotherapy to women who have pregnancy and breast cancer, it's very comparable to that of the non-pregnant women. And when they did a subgroup analysis of the women who actually received more than 60% of the chemotherapy during pregnancy, it revealed a comparable survival as compared to the women who are not pregnant. And this was fairly significant. So what the authors concluded finally was that the pregnancy-induced alteration in chemotherapy concentrations did not affect the maternal prognosis in breast cancer patients. And these results support the initiation of chemotherapy for breast cancer pregnant women wherever it is indicated for oncological reasons. So my take on both the abstracts is, I think the first abstract, that is a triple negative breast cancer, the rare subtypes, I think that is really what we see in the clinical practice, and that would help us prognosticate our patients as well, because it's not a single group of disease, and the prognosis will depend on what subtype we are looking at, and the resistance to treatment will also play a role depending upon what the subtype of triple negative breast cancer we're looking at. The second abstract on the pregnancy induced alterations that we are always apprehensive of. Clearly, it shows that women who receive the right standard chemotherapy, obviously given at the right time, they fare as well as women who are not pregnant. And I think this is something that is really good to hear about with scientific data to support what we know and what we practice. And I think that we follow this, and two well abstracts which have been presented. Thank you so much for your patient hearing.